Arsenal have made it 3 wins in a row with another 5-goal performance, hammering the Hammers in what became a very eventful game. Mikel Arteta's Arsenal are building momentum. So from the secret behind our set pieces to Arsenal's new creative machine, Mikel Arteta's surprise midfield change, and where this leaves Arsenal in a title race. As per, let's break it all down and discuss the 5 things we learned from West Ham 2, Arsenal 5. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Bats14. Welcome back to your boys channel. And how can you not feel sensational when Arsenal put up another 5-goal display? We have got so much to break down. So as per, smash a like on the video if you enjoy and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Help your boy on his road to 300,000 subscribers. We're starting off with the fine margins. Going into a game that Arsenal were meant to find difficult, West Ham away with the fans up for it, after the history of last season and a 6-0 defeat, where their own captain came back and scored the 6th dagger, under a new coach Julian Lopetegui, a former Europa League winner. They had just beaten Newcastle away 2-0, with a clear setup going into this one. A deep block with every player behind the ball trying to make it as hard as possible for Arsenal. But Arsenal were able to break through 5 times, with Arsenal having now scored 5+ away goals in 5 different away games in all competitions in 2024. A joint record by an English top flight team in a single calendar year, along with Sunderland in 1892 and Man City in 1937. Those, my friends, are what you call all-time numbers. Arsenal away from home finding their form once again. This game, as ever, the first goal was always going to be very important. So with West Ham deploying that deep block, it was no surprise that Arsenal turned to their most reliable moment provider, another set piece, with Gabriel Magalhaes dunking once again like a prime Shaquille O'Neal, providing a 7.6 rating with 1 goal scored in 45 minutes. 1 clearance, 1 block shot, 1 out of 1 aerial duel, and 81% of his passes completed, alongside also winning a penalty. There's just something so satisfying every time Gabriel Magalhaes scores. Bringing out the Mars celebration once again, I'm convinced at this point it's not about Gyökeres, and it looks far more like a Batman celebration. And he's getting to the stage now where he's become one of the biggest block threats in all of Europe, having now scored 4 goals this season and 2nd in the week. He's now the first defender to score 10 goals in the last 3 Premier League seasons, with 17 since arriving at Arsenal in 2020, miles ahead of any other centre-back. He actually now has 7 non-penalty goals since the start of last season, which is more than Bruno Fernandes. And the important part for me is how Gabriel is making set pieces trademark. When looking into this goal, what you'll see before it is how he was telling players where to be, instructing Saka where he wanted the ball, then setting up the screens to provide him the perfect environment. He was doing Nicolas Jover's job on the pitch. He's almost become our set piece coach. Over the last 2 Premier League seasons, Arsenal have now scored 19 goals from corners and 28 from set pieces. The set piece team in the league, I've seen a lot of rival fans talking about Arsenal, saying how easy it is to score from corners, not giving us credit whatsoever, when in actual fact Arsenal are actually ahead of the curve. Mastering the art of set pieces and the fine margins, a trademark from Mikel Arteta. When it comes to corners, a key thing for us is the use of screeners, with a prime example being Ricardo Calafiori, getting in the way of players to give Gabriel the perfect space to drive into. It is very much NFL-like, and when you think about the fact that Kroenkes also own the LA Rams, with the Rams coach Sean McVay having spoken to Mikel Arteta many times, there is a clear influence coming from outside of football. Yet another example of Arsenal maximising their fine margins. You then had this in the second half. Arsenal with the free kick on the edge of the box, and here you've got Jorginho standing in the way of Lucas Fabianski trying to block his view. It is not elite sportsmanship, but it's once again Arsenal trying to get any sort of edge whatsoever. Whether it's players going down for injuries to give Mikel Arteta a chance of team talks, walking over to corners to take every single second and compose themselves. These are the little things that Mikel Arteta has given Arsenal over the past few years, fixated on the idea of these small wins, leading to major ones over a longer period of time. But for Gabriel Magalhaes taken off at half-time, replaced by Jakub Kiwior, there was a lot of talk of why he went off injured. Mikel Arteta saying after the game, it was related to a previous injury that he had in Lisbon. With the niggle that he was feeling, we decided to take him off. But for some fans, they are actually speculating something different, having been punched in the face by Lucas Fabianski earning a penalty for Arsenal. Also, did not use this sub as a concussion. The reason behind that is if we had used it as a concussion, under FA protocols, Gabriel would have not allowed to have played for an entire week. In his absence though, of course, Kiwior came on and he was solid. But more importantly, the defence was marshalled by William Saliba, who has now made 30 tackles this season without getting dribbled past a single time, the most in the Premier League by a country mile. Having just made his 100th appearance against Sporting Lisbon, thrived in the Champions League against the most informed striker in Europe. With Calafiori and Gabriel both going off, William Saliba took charge of the back four, making important last-minute challenges and ensuring that Arsenal get this win. As Mikel Arteta said after Saliba made his 100th Arsenal appearance, At this age, the consistency and quality of performances is incredible. He has created a magnificent partnership, and big credit to Big Gabby as well for that. Moving on to the second thing, Arsenal's creative machine. Machine has to be the word. On a day that Arsenal scored 5 goals, for me the most electrifying player was Bukayo Saka. The star boy was shining at his brightest. Seen after the game receiving the official player of the match award. If we're ever going to use the word masterclass, this is the best time, as Bukayo Saka became the first Premier League player to have 3 goals and assists, win a penalty, create 4+ chances and 4+ crosses in a single Premier League game this decade. We are talking of an outstanding 9.2 performance. In 74 minutes, 1 goal, 2 assists, with 2 successful dribbles and winning 1 penalty, 4 key passes and 2 big chances created. As Bukayo says after the game, I'm just constantly looking to improve, create and score goals for this team. I'm playing with confidence and I want to continue like this. I like to score goals and create, but the biggest pleasure is winning. With now 18 goals and assists in 18 games this season, Bukayo Saka has well and truly reached an entire new level. Despite already being at a very high level last year, with an average of a 7.7 rating across the all of last season, this year it has gone up to 8.09. Constant 9+ performances, and a total of now 15 Premier League goals and assists, joining Mo Salah as the only player to have scored and assisted in 4 different Premier League games this season, as well as being the only player with 15+ goal involvements. We're at a stage now where it's not just Arsenal fans comparing Saka to Mo Salah, it's the numbers doing it for us, with the most impressive ones being the elite creativity. With a total of now 10 Premier League assists this season, 4 clear of the next highest being Salah. Saka's created the most chances out of any player, as well as the most big ones as well, having already surpassed his assist tally last year with 25 games spare, with another fantastic assist from a corner. I've heard people saying how many have come from open play. We're talking 7 of 10, by far the majority. And even if it was purely from corners, why is that a bad thing? Goals are still goals, and if anything, aiming a ball in a crowded box, in a pinpoint area to find a certain player, by any means is not easy. With now 10 assists in 13 league games this season, only Cesc Fabregas in 14-15, Ozil in 15-16, and Kane in 2021 reached 10 assists in few of the team's games to the start of the season. All eyes are turning, of course, to the Premier League record of 20, joint of Kevin De Bruyne and of course the King Thierry Henry, with Saka being 10 away with 25 games left. In the past, we have seen players have fast starts and then slow down, but with the range of Bukayo Saka's assists and the consistent threat from set pieces, could you imagine the scenes if he was to break the all-time record? Would people then consider him world class? Because right now his numbers are undeniable. This guy is in such good creative form that even when it came to the penalty, he was assisting Saka and Ødegaard to give him the ball, allowing the captain to score his first goal of the season, dropping a 7.8 rating with 1 goal scored and 59 touches, 41 passes and 2 key passes, playing an integral part in the third Arsenal goal, chipping the ball in behind Bukayo Saka, where against a deep block without Ødegaard, Arsenal was struggling, with a brain back in the side, Arsenal once again able to play in this environment, with Ødegaard's fantastic ability of playing cute passes in behind. As Mikel Arteta said before the game, Ødegaard takes everyone's games to a different universe, and that's the key part. It's not the fact that Ødegaard gets the numbers, it's how much he elevates his entire Arsenal side, a reference point in the final third that you can give the ball to, knowing that he has the metronome quality in that final third to keep it there and play incisive passes. We often hear comparisons like Kevin De Bruyne, and while Ødegaard is able to provide numbers when it comes to the final action, for me his biggest strength is more the playmaking, the dropping deeper and controlling the game, giving his side tempo and combination in that final third. For me, he is far more of a number 8 than he is a number 10. Moving on to the third thing, Mr. Underappreciated. Going into this game, of course, there was a bit of surprise news. With Thomas Partey out with a muscle injury and Mikel Merino out with a knee issue, 2 of Mikel Arteta's key midfielders are missing. In spite of that, Arsenal still won the game on XG with a 3.2 to West Ham's 4.6. And more importantly, had 60% of possession, with 54 final third entries and a 4.0 expected threat created, ending the game with 65% field tilts. The key behind this game was always going to be control, and that's where you had Jorginho stepping up. Not the stepfather, but the father that stepped up, dropping a 6.9 rating with 43 accurate passes, 2 accurate long balls, and 4 out of 6 ground balls won. This guy was excellent off the ball with 1 clearance, 3 interceptions and 3 tackles, not dribbled past a single time. His influence on the ball is all about elite control, slowing the game down to his own pace, then picking off incisive passes to hurt teams where it matters the most. He's not got that elite progressive ability of a Thomas Partey, nor is he as good off the ball as Declan Rice, but what he offers Arsenal is calmness. In a game at times that became end-to-end, the reason behind Arsenal's early dominance was because the control offered by Jorginho, with Arsenal averaging 63% possession in the last 2 games he started, winning all 4 of the games he started across this season. With him in the side, Arsenal may be slower at times, but against these deep blocks where it's all about being patient, Jorginho's profile is almost perfect, with a very good ability to not play for a while, yet when called upon always find a way to step up. You think about that game against Spurs away, a massive game at the start of the season, Jorginho thrown to the deep end but still able to thrive. When you talk about squad players, Jorginho is almost everything you want, always available when called upon, rarely ever injured. Not just able to come off the bench to slow games down, but even in the games he starts with all the big game experience, He is never fazed by the pressure. The question then becomes about his future, out of contract at the end of this season. Having seen his quality so far this year, he may not be Arsenal's long-term starting number 6, but using him as a squad player, there is real value there, still clearly able to play at the top level. Comment down below if you would give Jorginho a brand new contract. But in a game that Arsenal opted for more technical security, controlling the game with more possession, with West Ham scoring 2 goals out of nowhere, it then became even more important that we won our defensive duels. That's why you had another top performance from Yuri and Timber, who won more duels in 7 and won more fouls with 3 than any other Arsenal player against West Ham, while nobody else completed more take-ons in 2, with whopping 5 touches in the opposition box, only less than Bukayo Saka. It was yet again a very complete Yuri and Timber performance. Defensively very sturdy, but when going forwards always able to make an impact, provide Saka an overlap and underlap at the same time. That level of flexibility gives Arsenal that much more unpredictability. When it comes to building up now, it's not just about inverting on the left hand side, where in the past it was all about Zinchenko, but with Calafiori and Timber both being comfortable at inverting but also playing out wide. As you can see from the heat maps, while Calafiori at times is still inverting, you've also got Timber at times taking the role. For Calafiori itself, it wasn't an amazing performance, giving the ball away a few times in the first half, but his nature in being a more adventurous passer makes him prone to the odd mistake. Importantly, in the second half, we saw the impact when he was off, with Arsenal having far less tempo in their game. When taken off, he was seen pointing towards his groin area, indicating a potential injury, but the fact that he was taken off in the 55th minute, hopefully for me, is just a precaution. With a massive game against Man United coming up, the importance of Mikel Arteta as fullbacks can't be overstated. Moving on to the fourth thing, Arsenal's forward combination. In a game that Cobra Kai struck once again, dropping an overall 7.2 rating in 90 minutes, with 1 shot on target, 1 shot blocked, 88% of his passes completed, and 2 out of 5 aerial duels won. That is now 2 goals in Havertz's last 2 games, which is no surprise because he's playing once again as a striker. With the return of Saka and Ødegaard in the right hand side returning to his best, Havertz is given a very free role in that final third, able to drop deeper and link up play, but also giving Arsenal a fantastic outlet. When pressed towards the goalkeeper, Davirai is always able to go long, because Havertz is able to drift towards the right hand side and nod the ball towards Bukayo Saka, getting the ball to our most dangerous players as soon as possible. He now has 26 goals and assists in 49 Arsenal appearances, the same amount he had at Chelsea, but in 42 games fewer. Those numbers are very impressive when you consider his start, so slow and lacking so much confidence, playing at times as a midfielder and only moving up front in January 2024. On the right hand side, you already have Saka, Timber and Ødegaard combined so well. Havertz is also a very important part of that side, drifting over to give those players a combination, but also taking his only chance of the game very well, provided by a certain Leandro Trossard, who was also on fire, with an 8.2 rating, 1 goal scored and 1 assist, 36 touches, 18 passes, 2 key passes and 1 big chance created. The assist itself was different gravy, with now 3 goal contributions in his last 2 games, a sign that Trossard is finding himself back in form. It was overall a very good performance when we talk about the goal that Arsenal conceded. Via Wan-Bissaka, for me, that falls down to Trossard, falling asleep and letting the play running behind him, with West Ham scoring a goal straight after that. It gave them unnecessary momentum. But on that left hand side, what I find more intriguing is the fact that in the last 2 league games we have not seen Gabriel Martinelli once. That despite him being available and starting the game against Sporting Lisbon, for me it indicates a potential change in Mikel Arteta, where in previous times whenever his Arsenal team was winning, he would rarely ever change his side. What we are seeing now is change the profiles for different games. Understanding this game was all about playing against a deep block, against a very good defensive Wan-Bissaka. The use of Trossard's more technical profile was going to be always more useful. But when you think about the next game against Ruben Amorim's Manchester United, who are almost certainly going to play a back 3, less likely to play a deep block and trying to be more expansive. Don't be surprised if we see Martinelli back in the starting line, with him being a far bigger threat in transition. Moving on to the 5th thing, momentum builder. Having now won 3 games in a row in the space of 1 week, scoring a whopping 13 goals in the process. Against West Ham themselves, Arsenal seem to love playing them in total 57 times in the Premier League era, winning a whopping 37. At the London Stadium, Arsenal were always feasting, with 11 goals in only 3 halves, 6-0 last year and 5-2 this year, with all 7 goals coming in the first half. It was the most in Premier League history. A near perfect performance up until the 38th minute where things really changed. Wan-Bissaka scored the goal and minutes later, we saw a wonderful free kick from Emerson. Out of nowhere, the 4-goal lead was down to 2. And while we can talk about the fact that it was never a free kick in the first place, a truly awful decision by Anthony Taylor, who was right in front of the challenge. It made a very easy game for Arsenal, very much unpredictable. And as Mikel Arteta said, we made it crazy. We played so well at the start of the game, but we have to manage the game, and we did that really well. The last 2 games are tricky, and to score goals is a big one. Having seen Man City's capitulation only this week, 3 goals up until the 74th minute and drawing 3-3. For Arsenal themselves, the only team in Premier League history to have not won with a 4-goal lead. It's those little things once again that Arsenal have done over years. Slow games down, take time from throw-ins, goal kicks and even set pieces, is why Arsenal were able to provide a very professional second half. Despite Calafiori and Gabriel both going off injured, the likes of Zinchenko and Kivior did their jobs, slowed the game down to a pace where it was no longer about scoring goals, just getting yourselves over the line and focusing on the next game. But in terms of the focus, tomorrow it's all going to be at Anfield, as Liverpool take on Man City in one of the biggest games of the season, against a City side that has 6 games without a win and one of the most informed teams in Liverpool. The breaking news before the game is Liverpool's informed defender Ibrahim Konate is set to be out for 5 to 6 weeks via an injury. In terms of results, for me, the perfect one is going to be a draw. With Mikel Arteta speaking on Liverpool's form, top of the league and currently only 6 points clear of Arsenal, he says we've been there and tried to sustain it for 10 months and it's extremely difficult. Everything has to go your way. And sadly, when you think you have it, one day it collapses. It can happen at any moment and we have to be ready for that. As things stand, there's no denying Liverpool the most informed team in the league, prone to any sort of criticism. With Konate now out for the next few months, having seen Arsenal's struggles themselves with Martin Ødegaard out injured, we'll see if Liverpool were able to adapt themselves. Having definitely had an easier start than Arsenal to the season, they can only beat what's in front of them. But in terms of Arsenal, according to West Ham manager Julian Lopetegui, for me they're the most complete team in the Premier League. Which is a very bold thing to say considering the fact that Arsenal are still far behind Liverpool. But when you think about the injuries and red cards that Arsenal have had this season, alongside away trips to City, Chelsea, Spurs, Villa and Newcastle, every stadium that Liverpool are yet to go to, the perspective around Arsenal has definitely been skewed, with stocks being lower than ever before. With 3 wins in the last 3 games now, 13 goals scored, the focus turns to West Ham's mid-table rivals Ruben Amorim's Manchester United, as Bukayo Saka says it's going to be a big game on Wednesday, and we are going to be ready. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of the social medias, then the links are down below in the description. But that was the 5 things we learned from West Ham 2, Arsenal 5, another feast at the London Stadium. It's things that you love to see. But with games coming thick and fast and a very intense title race, there's no time to celebrate. So as for my friends, we'll stay tuned, take care, and in a bit.